afternoon and welcome to this week's Team Kentucky Update. Exciting news today. Actually, I think other than some severe weather, all good news today, and we deserve good news. First, yesterday, we made a really exciting announcement about something that's impacted about every Kentucky family and small business, and that is our plan to address rising prices due to inflation. While this challenge is temporary, and it is, it's now reached a 40-year high directly due to the effects of a once-in-every-100-year pandemic that is now stretched for 2 years. Our families are tired, yet at the same time, we're all excited about our collective future. Last year, the Commonwealth shattered every economic development record on the books. We saw an all-time record-setting budget surplus. We have the largest rainy day fund in our history. Last year, more new jobs created than ever before. And 2022, off to a great start. In January alone, new and expanding private sector businesses in Kentucky announced what I believe is the second best investment in January ever, $670 million in new investments, 1,400 new jobs. For the first time in 15 years, one of our bond rating agencies has upgraded Kentucky's economic outlook to positive. That is something that is really exciting for us. And so the list of exciting parts of our future and what we're seeing, jobs of the future. We're going to talk about agriculture technology here in a minute, and international agreements where we are working with our Dutch partners. All of that is so exciting. But I get that our present is challenging. Due to the pandemic, we're now experiencing the most significant inflation in decades. That means things cost more, which means week to week, month to month. It makes it harder for our families to get by, and it makes it harder for our small businesses if people can't afford as much of what they're selling. So yesterday, I announced I'm providing direct relief on vehicle property taxes, and I'm proposing a temporary 1% drop in the state sales tax. Under my proposals, Kentuckians will see tax relief of approximately $1.2 billion, of which $873 million is directly related to the temporary sales tax decrease, and $340 million is from the reduction in vehicle property taxes. First, to immediately stop an increase in vehicle property taxes caused by soaring used car values, I signed an executive order that will result in savings for Kentuckians by stopping an increase in vehicle property taxes, which in Kentucky rose nearly 40% since last year. In simple terms, this means, and generally, with the same car in the same shape, people will pay the same amount this year as they paid last year, with no inflated value. Now, I'll admit, under Kentucky law, both I and I think most attorneys would say that only the General Assembly can set tax rates and the methods in which they are calculated. But last week, through a Senate joint resolution, one of our legislative chambers said you do have this executive authority. And while that is a new position for this legislature, if they think that I have the ability to help Kentucky families, you bet I'm going to do it. We signed that order, and that help on vehicle taxes is now done. So to those who've already paid their 2022 taxes, you don't need to worry. You'll be getting a refund on that vehicle tax from your local county clerk's office. Yesterday, we also announced what is appropriate public relief. At a time when inflation is high and when our entire economy is changing to exciting new industries, you're going to hear about one today. Now is not the time for partisan tax reform, which most of the time raises sales tax, making it harder for people to get by, to lower income tax on those that are getting by just fine. Our plan would, from July 1, 2022 to June 30th, 2023, lower lower state sales tax from 6% to 5%. So what that will mean is Kentuckians will save money, but the way they save money is directly connected to our economy and to the spending that will continue in our economy. that helps families and families in every single income bracket. And it helps our businesses as well. The sales tax proposal will decrease tax costs for Kentucky families by more than 16%. We're talking about savings on purchasers at retailers and at restaurants, on building and hardware materials, on clothing, as well as purchases on grocery stores that are not food or medicine. We're talking about businesses that have struggled during COVID that are going to be just a little bit more affordable for our Kentucky families. Again, our Kentucky families need relief, especially those that don't make enough to be benefited by changes in income tax. This is us providing temporary public relief to everybody in a way that stimulates our economy. We look forward to pushing as hard as we can to get this passed. Certainly in these times, this is a smart step whereby we can move into that bright future. Now, let's move to that bright future because we continue to see excitement all around, from our new investments to our new partners. So as most of you all will remember, in a major step that ensured Kentucky was on the global stage for agriculture technology, in June of 2020, we announced that we joined a collaborative agreement with the Dutch government and 15 other partners. The Dutch have been operating with agriculture technology and many of the methods that we are now bringing to the United States for decades. They are really good at it, and we're blessed that they're interested in not only helping, but investing and working with not just us, but with Kentucky in particular. Since that agreement was signed, we've welcomed several new agri-tech companies to the Commonwealth and have had the opportunity to start new ventures with our educational institutions. As the agri-tech industry continues to expand in Kentucky, we've expanded on this partnership with not only Kentucky companies and educational institutions, but more and new entities in the Netherlands as well. Today, we're excited to announce the collaborative agreement is expanding, and we're happy to welcome 9 new participants. From Kentucky, we are welcoming the Kentucky Horticulture Council, representing growers throughout the Commonwealth. Kentucky State University, with some incredible programs attractive to so many companies. We're welcoming Appalachia, growing apples on top of abandoned coal mines, and looking to create 2,000 jobs in Martin County. Kentucky Fresh Harvest, doing great work in Lincoln County. And Arcadis, which is headquartered in the Amsterdam, but has offices right here in our own state. Additionally, we're excited to announce those from the Netherlands who are joining us. First, WER, which is a university and research institution. Our guest here is going to tell us a little bit more about that because, admittedly, with my accent, I cannot pronounce it. Hortitech, Royal Brinkman, and Delphi. All incoming partners bring a wealth of knowledge within this industry, and we are excited to continue to collaborate and for this to grow. This relatively young agreement, new agreement, to grow in valuable ways for both that country, the Netherlands, and this state, Kentucky. It's exciting to be on the cutting edge globally and for it to be recognized globally. So I'm now going to turn it over to Dutch Consul General Bart Twalfhoven to provide a few remarks. He has been a good friend to the Commonwealth. He has been a leader in this consortium, and we greatly appreciate him. Consul General.
Thank you very much, Governor Beshear, for your kind words and your introduction. As a Dutch representative, I'm very honored to share this podium with you today as we announce the expansion of our successful agri-tech collaboration with the addition of 9 businesses and academic institutions from both the Commonwealth of Kentucky and of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. The Netherlands and the United States are the 2 largest exporters of agricultural products in the world. We have achieved that position even though we have much less land than the Commonwealth of Kentucky, let alone than the United States as a whole. In fact, the Netherlands is less than half the size of Kentucky. So how did we become one of the world's largest exporters of agricultural products? It's technology, agricultural technology, also known as Dutch agri-tech. And now we are proud to work with all our partners from the Netherlands and from the Commonwealth of Kentucky to drive the agricultural revolution even further on this side of the Atlantic. This significant expansion we are announcing today is a testament to the willpower, grit, and determination of the people of Kentucky. We formally and digitally started this collaboration almost 2 years ago under the cloud of a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic, which we are still fighting today. Informally, however, we have been working together for over 3 years, and I cannot say enough how impressed I am by our shared progress now today in Kentucky. And for that, we would like to express our admiration for the people of Kentucky, all the partners involved, and for your personal leadership, Governor Beshear. 3 years ago, we started with a vision to create the agri-tech capital of the United States right here in Kentucky. We wanted to create meaningful jobs, feed people all over the United States healthy and delicious produce, and transform the economy of Kentucky. Today, we have a broad and expanding consortium of business, academia, and government working to achieve just that goal. Allow me to once again single out Jonathan Webb, CEO of AppHarvest. Without his vision and passion, this would never have been possible. We look forward to continuing our work with our Kentucky partners. And therefore, let me emphasize right here on this podium the importance of our expanded collaboration. The commitment of renowned Dutch organizations like the Wageningen University, also called WUR, and among Dutch companies like Arcadis, along with the entrepreneurial spirit of new Kentucky businesses like Appalachia and Kentucky Fresh Harvest, sends a clear signal to the rest of the United States and to the world. Kentucky means business. Together and at an unprecedented pace, Kentucky and the Netherlands will build the future of agri-tech. Our next step is to build a horticultural center right in Kentucky that will function as a hub of knowledge, research, and education for the entire industry. I want to welcome our new partners and thank our existing partners as we continue to work a common vision for the future. I thank you very much.
Well, truly exciting what we've got going on here in Kentucky. We've talked about now being not only the talk of every boardroom, but every country around this globe knowing not only where we are and who we are, but what we can do. And this is us finding new partners, even in the last several years, that are not only interested, but passionate about working with us to develop an area where we are and will continue to be a leader in this country. So to further that, today I want to highlight a project that is so exciting that's helping us keep our incredible economic momentum moving forward in 2022 and talk about the jobs of tomorrow. Last year, again, we set that record, $11.2 billion in new private sector investment, 18,000 quality job opportunities. But today, our guest is a part of an exciting January we talked about. Over $670 million invested, more than 1,400 new jobs. A major contributor to those numbers was a company in Louisville that's bringing an important industry to our state while building on our rapidly growing presence of electric vehicle-related investment. Since 2001, Quadrant has operated an engineering and machining and assembly hub in Louisville. They do so much inside this facility. I got a tour. And the company is now growing its footprint in the area in a significant and exciting way. a producer of rare earth magnets used in EV motors and so many other applications, medical and so many others. Quadrant is going to construct a 171,000 square foot manufacturing facility near its existing Louisville operation. It'll be the company's first mass production facility in the U.S. and furthers its plans to establish a world-class magnetics manufacturing and research campus here. It also addresses our supply chain, whether we are looking at so many of our industries in Kentucky or in the United States, to ensure that we are not relying, especially on supply chains that can be disrupted in ways that we are learning so painfully about. Quadrant is investing over $95 million, going to create over 200 quality new jobs in this facility. It's an investment not only in the future of EV, this is a great investment in Kentucky. This electric vehicle industry has been a major contributor to our recent success, but this is a part of it and a part of so much more that we don't have in Kentucky right now. Anytime you use the phrase rare earth right now, it's something that makes you the envy of the rest of the country, if not the rest of the world. This is an example of how we are growing all parts of these exciting new industries, and we will continue to work to have as much of the supply chain, especially those critical aspects that we've been hurting for not having right here in Kentucky. I can't thank the leaders at Quadrant enough, but also I want to thank their employees that I got to meet so many of there. Dedicated, committed, excited about what they're doing. Each and every person I talked to was excited not only that they're growing, but what it meant for Kentucky, and in this instance, what it meant to Louisville. So I'd like to welcome a new friend, Michael Brand, president at Quadrant, to come up and share a few words about the exciting project.
Good afternoon, everybody. Governor Beshear, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me to speak today about Quadrant and our upcoming expansion in Louisville. We've dubbed this expansion with the name of Project Neograss, so you'll hear me say that throughout here today. Quadrant is a leader in the magnetics industry when it comes to engineering, manufacturing, materials research, and advanced technology. Recently, we announced Project Neograss, which is an investment to expand our current operations in Louisville, Kentucky, with the addition of a magnet factory. And for those not familiar with magnetics, it's a very technical industry, actually, and it requires advanced engineering talent. Project Neograss, though, is going to be more than just a magnet factory just producing magnets. Magnetic materials are very critical in everybody's everyday life. The products that we will produce in this factory will be used in electric vehicles, motors, medical devices, consumer electronics, robotics, consumer products, pumps, sensors, and just so many other applications. These products are not only going to be used in today's current generation of products, but in future generations of products that will be developed by our customers with the help of us. So this manufacturing center and this research center will further the position of Kentucky in the magnetics industry as a leader, not only by themselves, but with us. And for that, we're looking forward to being the leader in magnetics innovation, research, and growth. From Quadrant's standpoint, it's part of our mission to become the global leader in magnetics. We want to bring the best technically engineered products to our customers. From the magnetics industry standpoint, it's the rebirth of an industry that is coming back to Kentucky. And we're very excited for that. We hope that this is kind of the genesis or the catalyst for other companies in our industry to also invest dollars in the United States to expand this industry. For the state of Kentucky, it's just yet another example of a high-tech and innovation company, Quadrant, expanding in this state and showing the rest of the country what a partnership with local government and business can really do when they work together. For Louisville, it's the addition of great jobs. It's growth in the local economy and the willingness of the leadership in Louisville to show that a city that's known for horse racing can also be known as a city known for innovation and advanced technology. But I'd be remiss if I didn't thank those who got us here today, because there are many, and I can't name them all. We worked with so many different divisions and departments over the last year plus to get to this point today. But I would like to recognize a few, and that's Governor Beshear and his team for sure. They've been tremendous to work with. They've been great help and great guides to us. Mayor Fisher in Louisville and his team, they've also been a wonderful partner with us. I'd like to thank Louisville Forward and the Kentucky Economic Development Groups. These teams literally have been paramount in helping us accomplish our goals and literally guiding us through this process and this path to get us where we are to this moment right here today. So Project Neograss for us is definitely an exciting project. Governor Beshear said it correctly. I mean, this is an exciting day for us. It's exciting because we know that we are expanding in Kentucky. This is where we have our roots, and this is where we want to be. So it's an exciting day for us. It's also exciting because we're bringing back magnets and manufacturing back to Kentucky. And this is just the beginning, what we think is the beginning of the expansion of the magnetics industry back into the United States. But we also know from Quadrant's standpoint that it's the continuation of the collaboration that we have with the great leadership here in Kentucky. And I want to thank you for that again. So my last comment is, who knows, one day this is the hope. This is the hope. When people mention Kentucky, they're going to say, that's the state where they have bourbon, horse racing, and the best basketball, college basketball in the country. But they also have the best magnetics hub anywhere. Thank you again. Mm-hmm.
I think Michael's is about as excited as I am on this project. Thrilling for Kentucky. Again, shows you that we are competing in areas and industries that we dreamed about growing up. So pretty special. Next, we're going to hear from the Lieutenant Governor, who's going to talk about our continued investment in water and sewer, which is necessary for these economic development announcements. And then a little bit about her opportunity to put a few more of our families that were displaced by the tornadoes into those beautiful new travel trailers.
Thank you so much, Governor. Yes, I had the opportunity to visit Mayfield last week to deliver keys to 5 families for them to move into these travel trailers. And it was a humbling experience, and it was exciting and moving. And I want to make sure that folks know that even though the national attention has turned elsewhere and the news cameras are gone, our administration is committed to standing side by side with these Kentuckians throughout the process as they rebuild their lives. And as a reminder, to be eligible for continued sheltering, storm survivors have until March 13th to register with FEMA. So to apply for FEMA assistance, please visit disasterassistance.gov or call the FEMA helpline at 800-621-3362. I think we were showing some pictures there of some of the families that I had the opportunity to meet and hand keys to, and it was a pretty remarkable day, I have to say. That little guy was my buddy that day. He was very sweet. So next up, we have the Cleaner Water Funding, which is a series of really exciting investments that the governor and I have been crisscrossing the state to make. And this is part of the governor's Better Kentucky plan, which provides $250 million worth of water and sewer projects throughout the Commonwealth. Just in the past week, we've announced $13.75 million in funding to local communities. This includes $6 million in Ballard, Caldwell, Callaway, Carlisle, Christian, Fulton, and Hickman counties, $2.5 million in Boyle, Mercer, and Washington counties, $2.5 million in Rowan, Morgan, Menifee, and Montgomery counties, and $2.75 million in Estill, Garrett, and Madison counties. And we all know that Kentucky's aging infrastructure cannot support the jobs of the future that we just heard so much exciting news about. So we have to invest in areas like high-speed internet, clean water, roads and bridges, so that we can build a solid foundation for tomorrow's economy today. These systems can make the difference for businesses looking to invest in Kentucky, but they also make a huge difference for our families. The governor and I believe that access to clean drinking water is a basic human right, and we are working to make sure that that reality comes true for every Kentucky family. Even better, through this process, we are creating 3,800 jobs for Kentuckians through the Cleaner Water Program. And this program is thanks to a bipartisan agreement with the legislature. But none of it would have been possible without the leadership of our local officials, utility companies, and their partners. Because to receive funding, community leaders had to reach consensus to determine which projects were their highest priority in their community. This is just another example of how when you drown out the noise and work together to put Kentucky families first, we can do big things to improve the lives of all Kentuckians. The governor and I will continue to be on the road in the coming days announcing even more cleaner water funding. And because infrastructure remains a priority for this administration and future economic development, I'm happy to say there will be even more great news, this time concerning high-speed internet access in the coming weeks as well. And I'll turn it back over to you, Governor.
And once again, a big thanks to the General Assembly for their work in what was a bipartisan branch of government agreement on how to spend those water and sewer funds. We haven't seen enough bipartisan agreement or agreement between legislative and executive, but I tell you what, the agreement in all 120 counties between county judges and local officials just blows away what we might have done here in Frankfort, and serves as a testament and an example that we ought to be following here, and they ought to be following in Washington, D.C. Clean water in red or blue, it's not Democrat or Republican, it's just good for our families. And just about 95% of everything that we ever do here in Frankfort, we could view that same way too, that our jobs aren't to move the state right or left, but to move them forward. And when we stop trying to count votes, or think about forcing a vote that'll get this group mad or that group mad, and that might have some impact on elections. When we push all that aside, we can do some really good, special things that help our families. Okay, in more good news, we're going to give you just a couple of charts on COVID. This is midweek that shows you things are getting better. We right now are on track to have fewer cases this week than last week. That will continue a good decline. And while it's too early to have that stair stepper chart, I do want to show our that's last week's, our hospitalization census, if we can. Again, it is steadily decreasing, still higher than we would like, but look at how much it has moved since just weeks ago when we were near the highest amount of people in the hospital with COVID. We're seeing that as well in our ICU numbers declining. Thankfully, they did not get as high as Delta with Omicron, as well as ventilators. And what this does show is we've got a good downward trajectory. Again, we believe that by the middle of March, hopefully even earlier, we will be out of the red, probably even through the orange into the yellow. And this time, I hope we hit green. Now, we didn't hit green in between Delta and Omicron. But folks, be excited, be hopeful, be optimistic that we're moving the right way, but be patient and let us get there. We are really close, and you don't want to get COVID right in those last couple, 3 or so weeks when it is still one of the highest that it's been in the entire pandemic, when just a little more patience can get us where we need to be. Also, remember, people are still dying, but almost all of them are unvaccinated. If you look here, again, this is updated to today. If you are under the age of 60 and you are vaccinated, and especially if you are boosted, this thing right now isn't going to kill you, right? I mean, it's pretty amazing. You are almost 100% guaranteed that if you are under 70, really, or under 60, but pretty close to under 70, and you are vaccinated and boosted, you are going to make it. With us facing the most infectious disease that we have seen at least since the measles, that's really incredible. And that is a testament to how amazing these vaccines not only were when they were created, but how they stand up even to the variants. But let me say this, it also means that virtually every death we've had under 60 was avoidable. Every single person we've lost. When I read out ages of people far too young, almost all of that was avoidable. So listen, it's a pretty good reason if you're especially under 60 and you haven't gotten your vaccine right now, that if you get it, you're not going to die, right? I mean, it may be that simple and that clear. And again, we would really encourage people to get vaccinated. Our vaccinations are down, but there are still people choosing to get vaccinated each day. I think yesterday's numbers were some of the lower. Today, we're back up to about 1,000. We want that to continue daily. And remember, when we look at the age distribution, since Delta, younger people are dying. Those are unvaccinated, but younger people are dying, as opposed to the original strains when we did not have vaccines and that preyed primarily on people over 70 and then maybe 50 to 69. Now, as opposed to over 70 being 3/4, half of the people that are dying are under that age. Remember, just about everything on that side, that under 70 is preventable. And also look at how well the vaccines have protected people over 70, even with the health conditions that can come with age. Showing again the COVID-19 cases, and this is just protection from getting the virus, as opposed to what we saw before as protection from dying from the virus. So vaccines still help you avoid the virus, even if certainly Omicron has spread to people who have been vaccinated. And it also helps make sure you don't have serious disease from it. Just showing you an update on numbers, cases, hospitalizations, and deaths, vaccinated versus unvaccinated. Cases, obviously, still 73.7% of all cases since we have had the vaccines readily available are with unvaccinated Kentuckians. That number's gone down from about 85 for a couple reasons, waning immunity, right? So if everybody got boosted, that'd go back up into the 80s, and or the fully vaccinated would fall from the 20s to the teens. And it's just Omicron, while if you are vaccinated and boosted, doesn't seem to hit you much at all. If you're vaccinated and not boosted, may feel like the flu. And if you're unvaccinated, again, it hits you like a truck. But that's having an impact on cases. But still, you see hospitalizations and deaths. These are numbers that are phenomenal for any vaccine. All right, so lots of good news today. Again, vehicle taxes now frozen, with last year saving lots of people money. An opportunity to temporarily lower the sales tax, saving Kentuckians $800+ million, and encouraging spending to help our small businesses like restaurants that have been hit hard in the pandemic. Expansion of our consortium with the Dutch to further our international reputation in agriculture technology and to bring in more Kentucky companies. Just hearing from a company like Quadrant, which is doing, if you'll pardon a kid that grew up in the 80s and the 90s, incredibly cool things here in the Commonwealth. So much science that they are bringing to Kentucky, so much technology, and then COVID going down. So again, a lot to be excited about. Yes, there are challenges to our present, like inflation, and the fact that the pandemic is not over. But it's okay to be excited that things are looking up if we can just push through. But one piece of downer news today: a strong weather system is likely to bring widespread rain, gusty winds, and over 40-mile-per-hour winds at times, and possibly a few thunderstorms today. We think we'll see 1 to 2 inches of widespread rain, which could result in a few instances for flooding. Stronger winds, again, gusts of over 40 miles an hour. Isolated damaging winds are possible. Those would be 60 miles an hour and up, as well as evening showers. But to make sure we don't close on something negative, our Team Kentucky All-Stars. Today, we're excited to celebrate the folks at Wood Songs for their tornado relief efforts to bring 1,000 free instruments to tornado victims. As so many of you know, music is healing. And many of our Western Kentucky families lost their instruments due to devastating tornadoes that took everything. If you're one of those families, you can receive a free replacement instrument on March 18th in Mayfield or on March 19th in Dawson Springs or Owensboro while supplies last. No one's going to be turned away, but FEMA and Red Cross card holders will be given priority. If you'd like to request a replacement, email the address on the screen or visit the website. Thank you to everybody at Wood Songs. And thank you to everybody across Kentucky and across the United States, across the world that's looked for ways to help. And whether those ways were giving money, providing direct relief, or finding that extra area where maybe people have been harmed and you can lift them up. I think this one is pretty special with folks knowing that they do, this area in music and making these instruments so well and how they can use their talents to help out those that have been harmed. So we'll move into questions. We'll start with our two that are here in studio. We'll start with Bodie.
Governor, Democrats introduced legislation earlier today that would legalize both recreational and medicinal marijuana. A GOP legislator has also filed a bill to legalize medicinal marijuana. Are these proposals that you would support? Do you have any preference over what would come across your desk?
I support medicinal marijuana, have for years. I think it's time. Virtually every other state, and red or blue, any of them, have adopted this. It has provided some relief, oftentimes to our veterans, or sometimes our seniors that are really struggling, offering a form of relief that they might otherwise have to turn to opioids for, which we certainly do not want to happen. I'm for a bill that ensures that medicinal marijuana is medicinal, that there are the right controls put into place, that uses the area of state government that is used to doing enforcement, which is the Public Protection Cabinet, to do it. I think there have been bills in the past that have asked DPH to do it, the Department for Public Health. They don't have an enforcement group in and of their own. So I do believe that Kentuckians overwhelmingly support medicinal marijuana. I think it's just a few legislators that are keeping it from happening. Time to let the will of the people ultimately happen. That's what we're supposed to be here for, not our own personal opinions. Karen?
Thanks to Bodie. I only have one. Are you looking at other ways to bring financial relief to Western Kentucky? What you announced yesterday will, of course, help.
Mm-hmm.
But everything is so inflated as far as rebuilding costs.
Yeah.
What other things can you do?
So one of the most important things that we're looking at to help in Western Kentucky, above and beyond from the government services that we're providing, and if you go to our website, whether it helps with unemployment for those that are going to be struggling with it, from food aid, sheltering, so many different programs that are out there normally to help people that we want them to take advantage of here. But also now looking at the next steps for the Team Western Kentucky Tornado Relief Fund. And we believe that once we are able to provide some relief to the insured, we've provided some relief to the uninsured, that we're going to be able to directly invest in rebuilding. And certainly bringing to bear the tens of millions of dollars that we will be able to address some of those extra expenses and costs in rebuilding. And we're not going to be able to bring the cost of some things down, but we can provide the extra funds to ultimately meet those needs. Again, that's the team, WKYReliefFund.ky.gov, working through that right now, but are going to be able to, I believe, provide significant investments to build hundreds of new homes. And we're going to have to be able to do this in ways that aren't just traditional, right? So many of our building one or two homes a month in different areas through great organizations have a whole lot of hoops to jump through. I mean, we're going to have to be expansive on how we do this because we want to rebuild faster, right, than many of those application processes would require. All right, we got Chandler Wilcox from the UK Student News. Chandler,
Thank you,
there?
Governor. My bad. We got unmuted. The National Transportation Research found in a recent study that Lexington area drivers are spending over $1,500 due to rough road conditions. Does that kind of speak to the need for infrastructure legislation?
Absolutely, and it speaks to the need for the Bipartisan Federal Infrastructure Act. You know, this is something that I supported, that Senator McConnell supported, that Representative Yarmouth supported, and they were the two of the federal delegation that ultimately voted for it. It's going to give us at least a couple $100 million extra each year in road and bridge dollars that help us do everything from build new projects to resurfacing, which can make a major impact on wear and tear to people's vehicles and also the efficiency of how they get where they need to go. So yes, Lexington is one example of that, but we also have the 6th most dangerous rural roads in the country. We have some major arteries that we need to expand, like the Mountain Parkway. If we can 4-lane that the entire way, and we are working really fast on it, we really open up a lot of parts of Eastern Kentucky and solve some of the logistics challenges there. We've got a I-69 bridge that's going to give Western Kentucky, along with the Barkley Regional Airport upgrade, all the infrastructure that they need to compete. And then we got a companion bridge for the Brent Spence Bridge that, with the right help from the federal government, we can build without tolls. You know, we are a logistics capital champion of the country. You know, when you are trying to locate, especially your first facility in the United States, here's where it makes sense because you can reach everywhere. But that infrastructure is so necessary. But in the end, as a dad, the most important cargo we ever put in our cars or our vehicles are our kids. And repairing those roads in Lexington, where I grew up as a Fayette County public school graduate, that makes sure that they are safer. It reduces wrecks, and it's really important that we do. Yeah, our national infrastructure needs a lot of investment, but I got to tell you that act is going to go a long way towards making it happen. It's pretty special, and I still fully support it. Debbie Yetter from the Courier-Journal. We lost all of them? Okay, we're going to give it just one more minute because we lost Debbie Yetter and Tom Latek, Al Cross, and Alexa Helwig. We'll give it 1 minute, and then I'll start asking their questions for them. Because, okay. Well, we're going to accept questions via email. I apologize to these journalists. It is a technical issue. We want to make sure we get you the information. I hope everybody has a safe day today with this weather. We'll be back to give a COVID update where we hope we continue to see good trends on Monday. Remember, make sure your voice is heard during these general assemblies. Let's stop doing the silly stuff, and let's focus on the things that help all of our families. Not red, not blue, not left, not right, but forward and good for our people. Thanks.